Good day, brothers and sisters. Wisdom at Dawn, episode 395. Creating images that inspire and guide a limited understanding. In the following verse, the Tathagata nature is naturally within us. We inherently have childlike simplicity and innocence. The law of karma, a principle of nature, has remained the same since beginningless time. Master says, at the beginning of our lives, we were simple and innocent as children. But as our environment unceasingly influenced us, so our pure childlike nature will become obscured by mundane habitual tendencies. For example, in our daily living, if we live in a vegetarian environment, then we understand how to adopt a vegetarian diet and lifestyle and stay healthy. We may be vegetarians because we cannot bear to eat flesh of sentient beings out of compassion, or perhaps for health reasons. But in a different environment where we eat all kinds of meat, we may believe that all living beings exist to be eaten by humans. And this is the way that things should be. So this meat-eating habit becomes a habitual way of thinking. In our childlike simplicity, we may neither be good nor evil. Young children cannot discern good from evil. They are innocent. But according to the law of karma, the causes and conditions that we have created in the past will bear fruit in this lifetime. The kinds of karmic affinities that we have created determine the kind of people that we will follow. If we follow wholesome people, then naturally we will do the 10 good deeds and be permitted by goodness. Circumstantial retribution are causes created in the past that lead us to be born in a certain kind of country, and we have no control over this at all. And our development after birth will then be influenced by the causes and conditions in our surroundings. So whether we are born into wealthy or poor families, whether we live in a country that is always at peace or one that is full of calamities, depends on our causes and conditions. Some people may be born into wealthy countries but to poor families as a result of their karmic retributions, or perhaps they may be born to wealthy families, and these are circumstantial retribution. But there is also direct retribution, which means that though some people are born into poor and harsh countries with many man-made calamities, they may still be blessed. And through direct retribution, they have the causes and conditions to shape their own lives. To further illustrate this, Master shared about the story of a black mayor from the United States who came to visit her. Most people in Taiwan would think that a black mayor is unusual. Now, this mayor was originally from Haiti, which is a historically poor nation, and that was his circumstantial retribution. Being born as part of this ethnic group and in a country that was poor was his circumstantial retribution. But he himself had the karmic conditions to change his life. And that enabled him to go to the United States to study and develop a career. And he eventually becomes the mayor of a city. And these are his direct retribution. And then when causes and conditions converged because of Hurricane Sandy that struck the east coast of the United States, this mayor was able to form a karmic connection with us, with Taiwan. So he came to Taiwan from the United States to better understand Tzu Chi, and later embarked on a different path by becoming a Tzu Chi volunteer, a living bodhisattva. Thus, the changes in life are truly inconceivable, but they are inseparable from the law of karma. So therefore, we must believe in the karmic law of causes and effect, which has remained the same since beginningless time. No matter how far back we go in time, the Tathagata nature is naturally within us since beginningless time too. So thus, if we do not transform ourselves in this life, when will we do so? Master shared about a story that took place in the ancient kingdom of Koryo, presently known as Korea. Legend has it that there was a king who was very benevolent. He treated his people as his own children, and he often ventured outside the city to assess their situation. Now one day, not far from the city, he saw from afar a tuft of rainbow-colored cloud. And this tuft of cloud was fully covering the land. He saw this strange phenomenon and thought, clouds are supposed to be in the sky. Why is that cloud covering the land? So curious, he walked closer and headed towards this direction. Now once he got close, he saw an elderly monastic standing in the middle of the rainbow cloud, holding a staff in his hand. The king felt so happy upon seeing this person and wanted to approach him. But as soon as he got nearer, the monastic disappeared. Then he saw a mound of grass on the ground. He asked his people to dig into that spot. At about 10 feet down, they discovered a staff and a pair of monastic shoes. So they kept on digging deeper, and they discovered a stone slab with foreign writing. Now they could not read those characters, so they asked an official to translate it. Finally, it was found that the words were the Buddha's teachings, which directed people to build stupas, temples, and Buddha statues. Intrigued, the king kept on studying the Buddha Dharma and later on developed faith in it. Later, he built a 7-story wooden stupa, and this is the legend of how the Buddha Dharma spread to Korea, or present-day Korea. As we can see it, before the Buddha entered parinirvana, he had already created the causes and conditions for people to spread the Buddha Dharma. From earlier verses, the Buddha reminded us that if we aspire to build stupas, shrines, or statues, we can realize the path to Buddhahood. As in the verse, even children at play with straws, sticks, or reeds, or even with their fingernails, may draw images of the Buddha. Master says the type of materials to do so does not matter. As long as we have reverence in our hearts, we can create these causes and conditions for spreading the Buddha Dharma and inspire faith in people. Even building stupas as part of play, as said in the verse earlier, can bring merits. Remember the story of King Ashoka's past life? As a child, he built a city out of sand when playing with his friends. In the city, there were stupas, temples, and large storehouses. When he saw the Buddha, he quickly grabbed a handful of sand from the play storehouse and offered it to the Buddha respectfully, saying, "This is the finest flour and the finest rice, and I'm offering to the Buddha." The Buddha gladly accepted his offering and gave the child his blessings. Upon returning to the abode, the Buddha poured the sand onto a sand pile and gave the child another blessing, saying, "When he builds actual stupas in the future, this child will create boundless merits. 100 years from now, he will be reborn as a wheel-turning sage king." True enough, 100 years after the Buddha entered parinirvana, King Ashoka built 84,000 stupas to honor him. And even until today, the stupas from this time continue to be discovered. As in the following verse, through the sequence of using skillful means and guiding people according to capabilities, the Buddha taught sentient beings to be sincere, to erect images, to make offering, and to nurture their faith. Master says, the Buddha reminded us that the most important thing is to be reverent as we erect images, make offerings, and nurture our faith. So therefore, everyone, our reverence in making offerings is of utmost importance. So always be mindful.感ơn brothers and sisters for listening in. May wisdom and inspiration be with all always.